Hi. So the topic this week is trans passing and cis passing. So first off, I guess I'll just say that I don't really believe in the terms of passing as like cis passing, just because I feel like it creates like a hierarchy and puts like unnecessary standards on trans people. It just seems really restricting. The idea of passing sort of invalidates people's genders, and it can be really harmful for people. But I understand an individual trans person wanting to pass as cis for safety reasons, but I don't think it's something that needs to be imposed on the trans community as a whole. As far as trans passing goes, I think it only works in like a small niche community trans queer space. In like where I am, which is really cisgender heteronormative, being read as a trans person can be dangerous. So there's no real privilege that comes with passing as trans. And I don't know, I don't even know if it's supposed to be a privilege, or because I haven't really, like, I've heard the term trans passing, but I haven't really read into a lot of like the discourse about it, or how a lot of people feel about the term trans passing. So I'm just thinking of it in terms of how cis passing is seen as a privilege, if trans passing is being seen as a privilege. And I don't see how it can be considered one, especially for trans people, just because if you're trans, you're not passing as trans, you're just a trans person. And because of how much danger and violence can be involved when somebody is read as visibly trans, especially in the cases of majority of trans women and trans women of color, I don't see how being read as a trans person in general can be considered a privilege when it, in many cases, can be a death sentence. I don't see the point in it possibly being a thing that people are trying to tell people to adhere to, I'm guessing, or try to impose like another set of standards on trans people. I don't know if that's what the term is used for. I probably should have looked some stuff up before I made this video, but I didn't think of that until just now as I'm saying these words. For me personally, just because I'm non-binary and I'm agender, passing as cis in any form is me being misgendered. The closest thing to having my actual gender read is passing as a trans person. But I mean, even then, it's a weird sort of space to be in. It doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't really matter for me if someone's reading me as a trans person if they're still respecting me and treating me like a human being, and they ask me what my pronouns are, versus somebody reading me as a trans person and it being, a dangerous situation for myself. I kind of forgot what I started this video saying, and I might have to stop and rewatch it. But I have recorded this video at least 5-6 times, and I really hope this time I got it right. I really should write a script because I lose my train of thought a lot. I edit these videos so much because there's large gaps of time where I'm just staring into space and trying to remember what I just said. I hope this makes sense to people. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. Ugh, stupid hair. But yeah, as far as trans passing goes, I feel like it's another unnecessary standard to put on trans people. As far as cis passing goes, I feel like it's even more unnecessary, but I mean, for safety reasons, especially in the case of many trans women, that's completely valid and it's perfectly fine. Any trans person, honestly, any trans person, I just saying especially trans women, but any trans person, if that's what you need, if you need to be stealth, that's fine, you know, but I'm just saying it's not something that every trans person requires or every trans person needs, or something every trans person can even do regardless if they want to or not. And granted, a lot of someone's ability to pass as cis has a lot to do with impossible standards that most people can't live up to, cis or not, anyway, and many of those standards are ableist and cis-sexist and racist and misogynistic. It's a lot of isms. My whole point of cis passing being unnecessary is just the putting, you know, unnecessary restrictions on trans people as a whole versus whatever an individual trans person might need or want. So that's my video. I really hope I finished it this time because watched everyone's videos and like being end of the week, you know, being like the last person, it's kind of like big shoes to fill. Not really, but everyone's videos were really great, and so bye.